ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यभागवतसेवया भागवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Hare Krishna. Welcome to this discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we'll be doing a new chapter in Canto 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam. The chapter title, this chapter number is chapter 30, and the title is Dhritarashtra Quits Home. So this is one of the longest chapter in Canto 1. The chapters 13 to 15 tell talk about the occurrences immediately after Krishna ended his pastimes in this world. Because these pastimes led to the Maharaj Parikshit's enthronement, they are part of historical background leading up to Shukdev Goswami speaking Bhagavatam. So that is how these chapters gain importance or gain place in Srimad Bhagavatam. Suta Goswami described the events leading to the enthroning of Parikshit Maharaj as the emperor of Hastinapur. So once Vidura, the former minister of Hastinapur, came to meet the Pandavas. Before Kurukshetra war, Vidura had been insulted and is banished by wicked Duryodhana for advising Dhritarashtra to favor the righteous Pandavas. Thus, Vidura, after being banished, he went on a holy pilgrimage and he met Maitreya Rishi and listened to Srimad Bhagavatam from him. So their description, the discussions between Maitreya Rishi and Vidura constitute Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 3 and Canto 4. And so that we will be discussing when we are getting into Canto 3 and Canto 4. Now, Vidura, after this Mahabharata war got completed or ended, Vidura returned to Hastinapura not to stay comfortably but to enlighten his elder and blind brother, elder, old, blind brother, Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra had been obsessed with the kingdom, and for that sake of the kingdom, he had been partial towards his own sons. He had encouraged their unlawful plots against Pandavas. And now, ironically enough, after the war, he was living under the care of the Pandavas whom he tried to kill. Vidura rebuked Dhritarashtra in very strong words. We can see in this chapter how he rebukes. He actually tells that we should not, Dhritarashtra should not live such a degraded and undignified life on charity of whom, on charity of those whom he tried to kill several times. It's not just one time, several times. Death cannot be contracted by anyone. Um, Now, Dhritarashtra is going to die, and his death is inevitable. Neither his father, nor his brother, nor his well-wisher, nor his sons can protect him from his death because death is inevitable. Further, none of them are there with him right now. So Vidura chastises Dhritarashtra, saying that his body has become invalid. So he has become invalid, and Dhritarashtra is showing symptoms of imminent death. It is shame. Vidura is telling Dhritarashtra that it is shame that uh, Dhritarashtra is still hanging on to the palace comforts. There is not even a single bit of renunciation or thought of renunciation. So Vidura suggests Dhritarashtra to quit this place immediately. Dhritarashtra, um, Vidura chastises his brother, uh, and uh, Vidura chastises his elder brother Dhritarashtra, and this chastisement brings Dhritarashtra to his senses and he leaves home. His chaste wife Gandhari also follows him. So Dhritarashtra later performs austerity with determination and eventually gets liberated. And Vidura, having this mission completed, having delivered his brother, he leaves Hastinapur quietly. Now, Yudhishthir Maharaj is unable to, one fine day, is unable to find Dhritarashtra, Dhritarashtra's wife Gandhari, and his uncle Vidura, and who actually have left the place without anyone's notice. So Yudhishthir Maharaj feels morose and he condemns himself. He considers himself responsible for not treating them well enough. At this point, Narada Muni arrives into the palace of the Yudhishthir Maharaj and instructs him. He instructs Yudhishthir Maharaj to give up his anxiety, um, and he also enlightens him that his thinking that his uncles and aunt cannot live without him or without his maintenance, that is not the right thinking. Um, Therefore, he says that Yudhishthir Maharaj should not consider himself as the cause of anyone's sustenance. Narad Muni instructs Yudhishthir Maharaj that God has created this natural system by which every living entity is sustained through other living entities. Therefore, his uncles and aunt have gone to pursue spiritual paths and eventually they will get liberated. Right now, Yudhishthir Maharaj has to focus on his duty. Narada Muni also leaves an important note that Lord Krishna has completed his mission on this planet, and Pandavas may wait as long as Lord Krishna is there on the earth, and then they can also wind up their activities here. Hearing this note from Narada Muni, Yudhishthir Maharaj freed himself from lamentation. So we can see that in this chapter there are three main takeaways. Um, One important thing is a devotee knows the art of converting the reversals in the life into opportunities for spiritual advancement. Second, the purpose of a saint's visiting householder is only to enlighten them and to not enjoy their opulence. Third point is saintly association is the greatest boon in this world because it brings clarity in one's thoughts and inspire one to pursue higher purposes in life. So these are the main takeaways from this. Okay, so here we see that there are totally 60 shlokas, and we will be let us see how much we can cover today. Let's go to the shloka. Just a moment. Sutta uvacha vidurastirthayatrayam maitreya atmano gatim jnanavagastinapuram kayavakta vihititaha. Sri Sutta Goswami said, while traveling on pilgrimage, Vidura received knowledge of destination of the self from the great sage Maitreya and then returned to Hastinapura. He became as well versed in the subject as he desired. So, unless both Vidura's and Arjuna's return to Hastinapur are described along with how Pandavas left the kingdom, it will not be clear how Parikshit became the king, and thus how he became critical in chastising Kili. So that is very important. So that is why this is included in these chapters. Okay, so now just before Kurukshetra war, Vidura quit the palace when he was insulted by Duryodhana. And Vidura, during his pilgrimage, learns about departure of Lord Krishna from the world. Later, under the guidance of Uddhava, Vidura takes instructions from Maitreya Rishi. So Uddhava and Maitreya Rishi together take instruction from Lord Krishna. So before Lord Krishna's departure from the world, this dialogue between Lord Krishna, Maitreya Rishi, and Uddhava takes place. So after his questions were answered by Maitreya Rishi, Vidura comes to Hastinapur to deliver Dhritarashtra. So Vidura is in pilgrimage for almost 30 years. If you see the entire life of Vidura, he has not done anything big worth telling other than hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Maitreya Rishi. There is something called as Vidura Niti which he made, but his principal contribution is a principal um, thing that he did is he came and heard Srimad Bhagavatam from Maitreya Rishi. And after hearing it, his only mission was to deliver his brother from wasting his final days in the opulence and illusions of the royal palace. All the royal residents of Hastinapura um, greet Vidura happily when he visits the palace of um, Hastinapur. So the inmates or the palace residents, they have not seen Vidura for so many years. So they did not know if he was alive or not. So when they saw him, they became very happy. For Pandavas, the return of Vidura was like regaining consciousness. Yudhishthira was highly animated by Vidura's return because Vidura is incarnation of Yamadharma Raja and Yudhishthir Maharaj is Yamadharma Raja's own son, born through Kunti. So that way, Yudhishthir Maharaj has a deep connection with Vidura. We'll go to the next shloka, shloka number 2. Yavantah Kritvan Prashna Shatta Kausa Vagataha Jataika Bhaktir Govinde Tebhya Chopa Ramaha. After asking various questions and becoming established in transcendental loving service of the Lord, Krishna, Vidura retired from putting questions to Maitreya Muni. So Prabhupada here is mentioning one important thing. One who is not seriously inclined to put questions before spiritual master need not accommodate a show bottle spiritual master. Nor should a person who may be spiritual master for others supposed to be so if he is unable to engage his disciple ultimately in transcendental loving service of Lord Shri Krishna. Vidura was successful in approaching such a spiritual master like Maitreya, and he got the ultimate goal of life, bhakti unto Govinda. Thus, there was nothing to be known further about spiritual progress. So, we need to approach a spiritual master with the purpose of serving, the purpose of understanding the goal of life, and a spiritual master has to engage the disciple in loving service of Lord Krishna. तं बन्धुम् आगतं दृष्ट्वा धर्मपुत्रा सहानुजाः धृतराष्ट्रो युयुत्सुश्च सूतः सारदता कृता गान्धारी द्रौपदी ब्रह्मन् सुभद्रा चोत्तरः कृपी अन्याश्च जामया पाण्डो ज्ञात्या ज्ञात्या सस्तु ससुता स्त्रियः. So when they saw Vidura return to palace, all the inhabitants, Maharaj Yudhishthira, his younger brother Dhritarashtra, Satyaki, Sanjaya, Kripacharya, Kunti, Gandhari, Draupadi, Subhadra, Uttara, Kripi, many other wives of Kauravas, and other ladies with children all hurried to him in great delight. It so appeared that they had regained their consciousness after a long period. So Vidura was a devotee of the Lord. So when he returned back to the kingdom, everyone was happy. So Prabhupada is given a brief description of various people who are described in this shloka. But we will proceed to the next shloka. प्रतियुज्य जग्मु प्रहर्षेण प्राणं तन्न इवागतम् अभिसंगम्य विधिवत् परिस्वङ्गा अभिवादनैः. With great delight, they all approached him as if life had returned to their bodies. They exchanged obeisances and welcomed each other with embraces. So everyone was missing Vidura. Everyone became happy when they saw Vidura. Text 6. Mumuchu prema vas spaugam virahautkantaya kataraha rajatam harayam chakre krita sana parigraham. Due to anxieties and long separation, they all cried out of affection. King Yudhishthira then arranged to offer sitting accommodations and receptions. Then tam bhukta vantam vishrantam asinam shukam asane prashra yavanato raja praha tesham cha trinavatam. After Vidura ate sumptuously and took sufficient rest, he was comfortably seated. Then king began to speak to him, and all who were present there listened. Prabhupada is making here one interesting point. According to Indian moral codes, even an enemy received at home should be so well received that he will not feel any fearful situation. An enemy is always afraid of his enemy, but this should be so when should not be so when he is received at home by his enemy. This means that person when received at home should be treated as relative. So what to speak of family member like Vidura, who was well-wisher of the members of the family. Thus Yudhishthir Maharaj began to speak in presence of all the other members. Yudhishthiro vacha apisvarat na yusmat paksha chaya samedita vipadagana visyagade mochita yat samatrikaha. Maharaj Yudhishthira said, my uncle, do you remember how you always protected us along with our mother from all sorts of calamities? Your partiality, like the wings of the bird, saved us from poisoning and arson. So Yudhishthir Maharaj inquires Vidura if he remembers how Vidura protected Pandavas from all calamities. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is talking about five important points. One is care for Pandavas, Vidura's awareness of Dhritarashtra's intrigue. Third, Vidura's guidance and protection. Fourth, on the House of Lack incident. And fifth one is Vidura's role in Pandava survival. So after Pandu's early death, his children and widow Kunti received special care from elderly family members, namely Bhishmadev and Vidura. Vidura showed a preference for Pandavas due to their political position. Though Dhritarashtra was also careful, he aimed to eliminate Pandu's lineage to establish his own sons as rulers. Vidura understood Dhritarashtra's scheme and he tried to oppose Dhritarashtra's ambitions. Uh, Despite his loyalty, Vidura did not support Dhritarashtra's political moves against Pandavas. He provided special protection to Pandu's children and widow. So, chastising Duryodhana for Vidura Maharaj actually chastised Duryodhana for his flaws and criticizing um, for chastising Duryodhana, and he chastised Dhritarashtra for favoring his own sons. So now Vidura's action within the palace politics earned him a reputation for being partial to Pandavas. Maharaj Yudhishthira later acknowledged Vidura's kindness and fairness towards all the nephews even after the Battle of Kurukshetra. So now, before the Battle of Kurukshetra, Dhritarashtra devised a plan to eliminate Pandavas without any information. He ordered Purochana to build a house of lac at Varnavarat. So Dhritarashtra intended to trap and kill Pandavas, trap them in this house of lac and kill the Pandavas. Vidura, aware of this plot, subtly warned the Pandavas, and Pandavas understood the hint and the danger associated with that. Therefore, they moved out of the house of lac without any use of weapon. So without any use of weapon. So they were protected from the house of lac. So we can see the type of plans Dhritarashtra made to kill Pandavas. Then Vidura later visits Pandavas in disguise, revealing the exact night the house would be set on fire, and he forewarned Pandavas to escape through a tunnel, which is unknown to Dhritarashtra. The Dhritarashtra actually thinks that Pandavas have died, and he performs even the last rites for them. Vidura Maharaj actually remained composed. Um, he internally knew that Pandavas were all surviving, but still he kept quiet. So Vidura's interventions repeatedly saved Pandavas from these type of schemes. So this actually demonstrates the protective nature and partiality of Vidura towards Pandavas. So this is just like bird which protects its young with its wings. So that is what is put here. We'll go to the next shloka. कया वृत्तया वर्तितं वा सराद्भिः क्षितिमण्डलं तीर्थानि क्षेत्रं मुख्यानि सेवितानीह भूतले. While traveling on the surface of the earth, how did you maintain your livelihood? At which holy places and pilgrimage sites did you render service? Vidura went out from the palace. He detached himself from the household affairs, especially the intrigues as referred to herein before. He was practically insulted by Duryodhana's calling him as a son of Shudrani, although it was not out of place to talk loosely in case of one's grandmother. Vidura's mother, although Shudrani, was a grandmother of Duryodhana, and funny talks are sometimes allowed between grandmother and grandchildren. But because the remark was an actual fact, it was unpalatable talk to Vidura and it was accepted as a direct insult. So we can talk rudely with people with whom we are very close, but we cannot talk rudely with people whom we should respect. So we need to follow the code of conduct. So Vidura therefore decided to quit his paternal house and prepare for his renounced order of life. This preparatory stage is called as Vanaprastha stage or retired life for traveling and visiting the holy places on the surface of the earth. The holy places of India like Vrindavan, Haridwar, Jagannath Puri, Prayag, there are many great devotees and there are a lot of free kitchen services here for, so if a person who desires to advance spiritually, he can go stay in these places and he can advance. Maharaj Yudhishthira was inquisitive to learn whether Vidura maintained himself by the mercy of free kitchen homes or not. Go to the next one. Bhagavad Gita Bhagavata. This is very important shloka. Bhagavad Gita Bhagavata Tirtha Bhuta स्वयं विभो कीर्ति कुर्वन्ति तीर्थानि स्वान्तस्तेन गतावृता भगवद्गीता भागवता तीर्थभूता स्वयं विभो कीर्ति कुर्वन्ति तीर्थानि स्वान्तस्तेन गतावृता. My Lord, devotees like you, your good self, are verily holy places personified, because you carry personality of God within your heart, and you turn all places into places of pilgrimage. There are five important points talked about. One is omnipresence of the Lord. Second is the role of unalloyed devotees of the Lord. Third, true purpose of the holy place. Fourth, importance of pure devotees. Fifth, transforming places into pilgrimage. So these are the five important points. So the personality of God is omnipresent through his diverse potencies, much like the electricity is distributed everywhere in space. This omnipresence is perceived and manifested by pure devotees such as Vidura, who always feel the Lord's presence everywhere. Um, so unalloyed devotees see the Lord in everything and everything in Lord's potency. Holy places are meant to purify the human consciousness through the presence of these pure devotees. Visitors of these class of people should show not should seek out devotees like Vidura and learn from them and apply the teachings in getting the salvation. So this is very important. Visiting a holy place is not just about taking bath in the sacred river or visiting temples. One should also find devotees like Vidura who solely desires to serve the personality of God. The Lord resides with these devotees due to because these devotees are pure and they are rendering selfless service. Pure devotees serve the Lord through hearing and chanting. They serve your Lord and share the glories of the Lord through different ways. Examples include Vyasadeva learning from Narada and Sukdev Goswami from Vedavyasa, and both of them propagated the Srimad Bhagavata. So the devotees are very important. So now the other important point that we will see is the transforming places into pilgrimage. Pure devotees can transform any place into place of pilgrimage. Holy place gain their significance from these devotees who can directly purify and serve. Um, uh, so pure devotees can transform any place into a place of pilgrimage. Holy places gain their significance from these devotees who can rectify the polluted atmospheres. This is in contrast to those who exploit the holy places for their personal gain and damaging the sanctity of the place. So we will stop here. Till now we have covered 10 shlokas. So conversation between Vidura and Yudhishthira has started. We will discuss further on this chapter in our next class. Thank you very much. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंद हरि 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 कृष्ण।